I think if I unmute the desktop, you hear me and Patrick talking. Oh.
I can't hear anything. Oh, there we go.
We are live.
We're live, pal.
On Indie Time to boot.
Yeah, 20 minutes exactly. We're good.
Would you have it any other way?
Oh,
If 2CW has taught me anything over the years.
270
All right.
representing.
So before, oh yeah, look at that. Patrick, always a company man. All right, so Madam Moderator, how's it sounding? Are we both coming in? Are we echoing? Are we good? Give me that thumbs up and we'll get into this. Because obviously we're not sticking to our times, pal. I can hear you guys perfectly. All right.
Fantastic.
That's all I need, man. I just need that Iggy. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna make this work. You know, I've worked with worse.
Now you're just talking about me. Okay, that hurts.
Oh, dude, no, come on. Crunch site says sounds good. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thumbs
thank
up.
you. You can use a
Sorry.
affirmation, whatever it is. No, Patrick, come
We're
on,
not here for
man.
English class.
No. Good here too, Mr. Hitchcock, Al Hitchcock. Everybody, thanks for joining us here today.
Indeed.
This is the first episode. Clearly, a lot of bugs to work out, but from the hip. So my plan here is to bring on anybody from the biz. Wrestlers, referees, sound guys, anybody in the business who's traveled the roads and has stories to tell. More specifically, war stories / road stories. And today I got one of the most unsung heroes in the New York wrestling scene, Mr. The Agent, Patrick Fenton.
Hello. How are you?
Now, I said this in a post earlier that some people may be like, I don't know who this guy is, but you've probably seen him or at least
Probably.
benefited from his presence, because this man has been all over the place doing all the things that are unseen to the scene. Now, before we get to the scene part, let's kind of talk a little bit about the behind the scenes stuff, because I was thinking about it today. And Patrick, I mean this in a good way, but it feels like you've been around all my life. It feels like there's always been Patrick Fenton. But for the life of me, I cannot remember the first day I met Patrick Fenton.
I was thinking about this too.
So tell me real quick about when did you get in this crazy world of pro wrestling? And let's see if we can pinpoint about the time our paths crossed. So how'd you get involved? I'm assuming it was with 2CW first, right?
Yes, 2CW first. It was the Chicken Wing Festival, August 2008. And we had been bugging. There was a group of us when I first started. There was 4 of my friends. And we bugging Jack Trades to help with the ring crew. And he kept saying, oh, we got it. That night, for some reason, he needed extra hands. So we all volunteered and we did the work. And we actually showed up to the school to help them unload. And he was super impressed with that. So he emailed us a few days later and offered us jobs, indie jobs. You know how that is.
You're lucky, because a lot of people just get told no and they just never get on crew.
Yeah, no, we didn't badger him for a long time, but we were badgering him for 3-4 shows maybe, because that was right at the beginning of the NWA. Well, in the middle of the NWA Upstate and 2CW feud. So like they were having all those thumbtack matches with the thumbtacks and all that. So we're like, dude, we'll go in the ring and help you sweep it out. He's like, no, I got guys for that. And for whatever reason, nobody showed up at the Chicken Wing Fest, so they're just like, hey, sure, help us out.
I remember that night, and it makes sense. And the thing is, I don't remember you being there, but that's probably because I don't know if you remember him, but the one student that we called Homicide. I don't know if you
I
ever.
remember Homicide.
Okay. I was there doing my video stuff, and he comes up to me. He goes, dude, Josh says we have to get this ring in this truck in under 20 minutes.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay. And granted, there was no chairs because it was, standing room only, standing lawn only, don't fall into the river only. And so it was just guardrails in the ring, not even an entrance because they were coming out of a tent. But yeah, I think we got that ring broken down in that truck in like 18 minutes or something.
And we did it again the next year too, because Jack Trades decided to make that a thing the next year.
I remember. Okay, so that makes sense. So I guess the follow-up is, I always imagine you as Josh's right-hand man, because like you're always around Josh. You're always like the go-to. I mean, there was Strangler and Trades, obviously, but you were one of the few guys besides them that was, I don't want to say Josh's lapdog, because I don't want it to be like a negative thing, but like in pro wrestling, he's like the Don. He's got his guys.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how did you get so close to Josh?
Honestly, I don't know. So like when we started doing the ring crew, Trade. I remember Josh telling me later on that he was mad at trades because we were getting front row tickets, and he's like, "Stop taking my front row guys because they're my money guys. Stop that shit." And we honestly, for like the first year, I kept buying tickets. Like I was one of those. I just like
Yeah, of course.
I already had like 4 shows in the bag, and I just kept doing it. And then finally, Trades was like, "Dude, you really don't have to. Like it's fine. You can just sit wherever, or whatever." And actually, that was when I started getting into more things. But as far as like getting close with Josh, it just I was local, and one night they just were, they had the Zebs meetings, the Thursday nights, and just the dinners, and they're like, "Hey, come out." I don't even know if I don't remember if it was trades. I know Kevin Graham was there the first time I went. So somebody just hit me up. I was like, "Hey, come to this, hang out with us," and they just wanted to get to know me a little bit more because they only saw me at the shows, and I was busy doing stuff. But they like, this kid's running around doing stuff. Let's find out what he's doing because I wasn't going to school, so like they didn't know me through that, and I was one of the only few that wasn't, if any. I mean, I might have been the only one not from the school at that point.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone who would have been from the outside who didn't go through like the school at least. I mean, obviously Jack Trades never went to the school.
And Cosmo, but and they went through their people, but like after they went through their people, then it was mostly school kids. And then I just happened to, like I said, I showed up with a bunch of guys, but me and my cousin stuck around. My cousin dropped off after a year, but it was just the two of us showed up for a while, and then he just randomly was like, "Yeah, come up." And then I was just asking to do more stuff, so put me wherever you need me. I'll do whatever you want, and that's what happened.
That's a good mentality.
Yeah, I mean, watching the shoot interviews and stuff like that, I knew to ask, but not like be a dick. You know what I mean? And I just was like, let me help, but if you don't want me to, I'll stand over here and shut up. And eventually it was, hey, go and stand by that door and make sure people coming in and out with wristbands or whatever it was for that night. And then it was, hey, for some reason, when I first started, ringing the bell was like a big deal. Like it caused a lot of controversy, kind of a big deal. Like if you didn't get the spot, you were all pissy. Like there was a big to do about it for a while. Yeah, for like 4 or 5 shows, and then it became Scarecrow's doing it, and nobody else can stop asking. And then Scarecrow didn't want to do it anymore. He only did it for like 1 show. He just thought it would be cool.
It was too much work.
He just wanted to do it. He just was one of those guys that just wanted to do everything like once and say he did it, and then it was like, I'm done. I'm good.
Whoa, yeah. Dude, no, this is too much, man. I gotta ring this thing 3 times. And then do 3 more after the match. That's like 6 a match.
And there's 8 matches. Math for Scarecrow. Come on.
God forbid, there's a schmaz and you got to keep ringing it to make them stop.
Oh, yeah. Nobody knows that in the indies anymore.
No, that's something we'll touch on. Trust me.
Yeah,
because like looking back, when I think of like the bell ringer, I always think of the empty chair in the corner with a bell sitting in it. Yeah. Like when we did ring crew, we'd put the chair there, we'd put the bell down, and we'd walk away. And like, I probably can't even tell you a list of bell ringers from 2CW. And I've been there since the On Center. Yeah. But I have no idea. I didn't even know Scarecrow did it.
He did it once. I want to say it was Watertown. It was right after I started. And I just remember for some reason, it was a very controversial subject, and I don't know what started it. I never found out what happened to it. Eventually, I became that guy, and I became a real timekeeper. Like I had sheets, I kept real time. I had a stop clock.
Dude, that's like the best job for you right there.
I kept all the records. Some of them I lost over the years, but like I had times for the matches because Josh would have found out about this much later, but still during 270 would come up to me and be like, I want to know if these guys stay on track for time. And I want to know time. So he was.
That's like using the easy pass to see if you're speeding. You could give him a report and be like, well, on average, Kevin Graham goes 2.5 minutes over time. So maybe
I never got that complicated, but he would want to know specific matches and just be like, hey, like, is this guy doing 12 minutes like I told him, or is he doing 15? And I would show him the whole list of matches, and then
Looking back, the only match I could think that got heat for going over was in Binghamton. Was it Matt Taven? Matt Taven and so man, who was it? They're like the opening match. It was the show. I think Slick hurt his leg.
Okay.
Because the opening match I think went like 5, 6, 10 minutes over. And I'm trying to remember who the heck it was, but I remember being backstage and Josh just being pissed, the Strangler being pissed, like, I need to take it home, and they weren't. But because they were like from Ring of Honor or something, it was just like kind of a, well, you guys went over, but good job. Because what are they gonna do? Yell at them? It's not like It's not like me and Graham went, a half hour over time and can of Jahari or something.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
No, not
that didn't just happen recently.
No, I was just pulling that information out of thin air.
No, I actually got
Lemons tag match. I think if I remember, was it a tag match? I'm gonna have to look into that, man. I just remember. I really want to say Matt Taven was no, it was JT Dunn. It was JT Dunn and somebody.
Yeah, okay. Hey, was it Fox? Because they ended up doing a 30-minute Iron Man towards the end of the run, and that got a lot of trouble because
Oh really?
Oh yeah, you don't remember that story?
No. Is that a story we could tell, or is that later?
all the Iron Man matches in 2W I'm involved in and got heat for. I don't know why. The first one was because there is a couple of heat seeking matches that I was involved in because of time. In Potsdam, we did the Jason Axe and Gargano 20-minute draw. You remember that?
Okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
So we were supposed to go a shoot 20, and Ted was the ref, and we were synced, and I didn't know there was a problem until the next show. We do the solid 20, everything goes off. Even Steve King comes over and says, "Great job, guys. You were on sync. Awesome." Right before we go out to do 99 problems with the 30-minute, Josh pulls me aside and is like, "Hey, whatever happened last time, that shit can't happen. You got to do 30 minutes, and I don't want any bullshit." And I look at him and go, What are you talking about? What happened?" And he's like, "I don't know. These guys are telling us that there's all kinds of problems." I look at Ted, and Ted looks at me, and we go, "Huh?" We had no idea there was heat on anything. Apparently, somebody was mad because they thought we went over 20 minutes. We go to do the 30-minute Iron Man. Jason X pulls me aside and says, "Hey, by the way, if I give you the Iggy, ring the bell." I go, "Dude, we're on." And he goes, "I'll take the heat. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay." The only spot that I had was to tell the ring announcer there was 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. We do the 5-minute spot. About 3 minutes in, Axe looks over. You can kind of see it if you're watching, and gives me the Iggy, and I ring the bell 2 minutes early. Nobody knew until I told Josh years later, and he got pissed at me.
Oh, shit, man. If that was me, I would be like, "Sorry, Axe. No. I'm afraid of that guy more."
I was, but like at the same time, like Axe, I knew he was going to stick up for me if there was a problem. There wasn't a problem, so nothing ever happened. And I just happened to tell Josh the story much later, and he's just like, "Yeah, I would have beat you up if I knew that. Like, I would have beat the shit out of you right then." And I'm like, "I know, but still, like, I'm helping a buddy out, whatever."
How many Iron Man matches have there been in 2CW?
Technically 3, but only 2 went time. We did the 6. We were supposed to have a 60-minute rematch with Axe and Gargano that Axe got himself disqualified out of, and where he DDT'd Gargano on the cinder block in Syracuse at the Drivers Village show. So that was technically an Iron Man match, but it never went through.
Well, the first one was ISIS versus Brother Run.
Oh yeah, so there's 4. Yeah, so then there's 4. I forgot about that one. Yeah,
and just ISIS just beat the shit out of him with a chair, and he lost like
18-2 or something. Yeah.
Because ISIS had to prove his point.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
And
that was a great
I was
match.
so pissed because this is back when I was doing all the video work. By the way, Ryan Schmidt says the man, the myth, the legend, the agent Patrick Fenton
Where?
wasn't there for the Iron Man match in Rome. Wasn't there an Iron Man match in Rome with Fox versus Colin? Does that sound
Ooh,
familiar?
I don't think they had it. I think they just
I
went to a
can't
time limit.
picture. I can't picture an Iron Man match in Rome. That is
No,
not an Iron Man match crowd.
I think they went to a time limit draw.
That was the time limit draw. Okay.
Yeah, I think we had a few time limit draws in the company's history. I think that
Okay.
was just a time limit thing. The only Iron Man matches I remember specifically was Isis and Spike,
Hmm.
Axe and Gargano at 99 Problems, the rematch at Drivers Village that didn't go the full 60, and then AR Fox and JT Dunn and one of the last shows in the pastime.
Okay.
Not two sets, but the one prior to that.
Did you know that one time I wrestled 2 Iron Man matches in one night?
In one night?
In one night.
No, I had no idea. Where was that?
Pittsburgh for Vicious Outcast Wrestling. They did an Iron Man tournament, and
Okay.
every match was an Iron Man match.
That's a concept.
Yeah. So the first rounds were 15 minutes. And then the winners all went into the finals and like a fatal 4-way or whatever, and it was 45 minutes. So I wrestled like an hour total, but in 2 different matches. But I wrestled like 8 people that night.
That's incredible.
Thankfully, this was like right after Japan, so I was like 310 pounds and lean and could run a marathon.
Yeah.
Dave McCormick, regret not knowing of 2CW from the outset. We missed some amazing stuff. Well, geez, the McCormicks are like the agent. I just remember them always being around. Were you guys not there from the beginning? Oh man, 2CW is a blur for me. I just think back and just everybody's there from like 2006.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, the crowd, the company was around from 06 to 2015. That's a lot of years, especially for an indie.
That is long. I mean, I see like I think like ECWA is like 40 years in the business or something like that because they've been around. But I'm sure there's been a few that have taken time off or shut down a little, but because it's all the same thing, they can count it.
Yeah. I mean, originally too, so we did 125 shows in those years.
Well, yeah, like eventually Josh is like, screw it, we're doing like 2 or 3 shows a month now because I'm gonna burn the candle at both ends. I don't care. Yeah, freaking 2CW is one of the few like companies that toured, if you think about it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
we had
like
all of Central New York.
Yeah.
I mean, Watertown to Binghamton.
Yeah, we fit like almost every corner. We were supposed to go down close to New York City one time in like Kingston, I think. Like Josh was going to go down there, but something happened and we didn't. McCormick, first show, Watertown, Mick Foley and Sonny. Pretty much every show after that, and to be compared to the agent is quite an honor.
Wow.
You know who main evented that Watertown show?
I do. I know that answer. I think the guy also wrestled Raven one time, but it's just a rumor I heard.
I think he did. He wrestled Raven once and got a mandible claw. Fun story. I've told this before, but it's so funny. Mick Foley that night, he was very like, I don't want to do much. I can't really do much. I'm just gonna be there. And like every 5 minutes, he'd come up and be like, well, maybe I'll do this. And then maybe I'll do a little bit more. And eventually he's just like, okay, so after you do that spot, I'm going to do Mr. Sacco, and I'm going to give this guy Mr. Sacco, and I'm going to give you the mandible claw, and I'm going to kick you in the nuts. And I was like, oh shit, I get the mandible claw. That's awesome. So Mick comes up and he goes, you got this big beard. I'll just like stick my fingers in there. No one will be able to tell the difference. And I'm oh, okay, whatever. So we go and do the spot, Mr. Sacco on Springgate. I'm coming up. Here comes the hand. 2 Mick Foley fingers right down the back of my throat. I'm like, yeah, I got the real deal. And then Kevin Graham got kicked in the nuts.
As he should. I mean, let's be honest.
Mick did a bunch of yelling after the show. Brother, did you see the yelling before the match? Because Slick and Freddie went on before us.
Yeah, for the title, yeah.
And Mick was not happy.
There was some language, right? That was the issue? Yeah.
Slick dropped some F-bombs, and then he what was the line Freddie says? Hey Freddie, give me them nuts. And then Slick kicks him in the nuts. Yep, Mick took him aside. We were right there because you remember we're in like that baseball announcer's booth. Yeah. On the side had the stairs, and Mick grabbed Slick and pulled him right under the stairs. And no, I'm gonna say it was the side because it was the side of the building. It was under the stairs, and you know he talked to him and about all that because we could all hear it. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yep, and because like me and Graham were standing there because we're ready because we had to walk around to like do our entrance. Brody was the best during it. Lovins, what did Brody say? I've never heard Brody's side.
I think I have, but I don't remember the specifics. Lovins will have to tell us about that.
I remember like him being around me when we were watching through the window and watching it all happen because all that post-match stuff wasn't supposed to happen. And Freddie won the title after all that stuff. Watertown, the first big event. And like it was supposed to be like his big crowning moment, and then Slick did all the other stuff. So a lot of people got angry. And I remember Brody just being like, "Oh, whoa." Brody comes to me and is like, "Did I swear at all? I am scared now."
Sounds like Brody.
I'm just standing there and be like, "Oh man, don't let anything slip." When I'm surprised I didn't swear when freaking Cruz shoved my face in Viking Helmet's armpit. I should have got a pass if I swore with that. All right, so you know we do all this stuff in TCW. You're around. You're like, would it fair to say you're kind of like the Harvey Whippleman? It seems like he did a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, because I mean,
nowadays we call it Jack Trades, but yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Brody's the number one wrestler that I've never met. Love and Saha, great evening. That was that the same night as the Fast and the Furious, or is that big event 2? With the ring truck.
That would have been that was big event 2.
That was 2. Okay, I'll say, man, if that was big event 1, then that's got to go down as like the ultimate 2CW night ever.
Yeah,
it was enough to get us hooked. I'm trying to remember.
There was a lot of fun stuff on that show. On the big event,
it was like, was it the Olsons versus Claudio and someone? Because I remember Jimmy, Colin, and Claudio running the bases.
Yeah.
So it had to be a tag match. Someone had to be teaming with Claudio.
Yeah, that was I thought it was the Smash Brothers. No, Claudio was there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely Claudio.
Yeah,
I don't think the Smash Brothers came in yet. I don't think they came in until after we wrestled the Briscoes. Could it be Hero? We had the Kings of Wrestling, so it might have been.
We did have the Kings of Wrestling, yeah. We had.
I remember them in Binghamton, so maybe it was. I don't know. I just remember it was like Claudio's running the bases, and then he like shoulder tackled Jimmy to dive into Colin on home base, and he was safe.
Claudio went against Cheech at that show, and the Olsons went against Super Smash Brothers for the tag titles.
Really? Oh,
yeah. I'm looking at my cheat sheet right now.
Oh, goddamn it, Patrick! Can't get nothing by you.
Because we were told not to use the baseball field. And of course, it's wrestlers, so we're going to use the baseball field.
I specifically remember the Olsons just being like, we call dibs on the baseball field. We're doing the baseball field spot. I remember how much I hated Colin and Brute my first show, but they turned out to be two of my favorite wrestlers. I have that effect on people. You hate me at first, and then you're just like, oh, all right.
I was just talking to the kids at the school last night about how I'm the exception to the rule. People like me for some reason, and I don't know why.
Well, yeah, I was going to say this earlier. I forgot what you were saying. We're like, oh, you're talking about me. And I was going to be like, Patrick, after 2CW, every show we were on, I would go to the promoter and be like, yo, Patrick's my ref. Like, it's the same thing with Ted. If you guys are on the show, I'd be like, how many times I go up to you and be like, oh, did your refs go over the matches? Did you get my match? And you're just like, I don't think so. And I'm like, you're gonna get my match, right?
Yeah, because I was just telling them again last night. I was telling the kids, I'm like, I never went up and asked to be in matches. I did not politic for that stuff. But if the boys wanted to go do that, that was on that. Let them do that. And I did. I did all those matches. You know,
liked because you are real. Well, I mean, yeah. Once you get past that thick shell, you get down to brutes are like onions. We have layers. Oh, Mike Skyro's coming in, shouting out the agent.
Gyros. He's out of town. Hope you're having fun, bud.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Don't be crazy.
Well, he's
because speaking of unsung, like, I don't know, this might be another reason why people hate me for saying stuff like this. But man, really good referees are few and far between.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
God bless all of them for doing it because we need it. But when you have to, you know, when you have to like work with the referee to be on the same page while you're trying to be on the same page with your opponent, it's so much worse.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't tell you how many times I've been in a match where I do the Kowalski claw and the referee's like counting it like an illegal hold.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I get it. Like, if I was clawing their eyes, you would count it.
Sure.
But like, everyone knows the claw hold, whether you know Kowalski or not, you know?
Exactly. But man, nobody knows the rules anymore. Yeah. That's my thing. Is like, you know, a few months ago, there's a kid just standing in the corner. Wouldn't leave the corner. And then only time he leave is when there's a pinfall. Go back to his corner.
I hate that. That's happened to me a couple times, not many. Yeah. Well, like after the match, I would be like, "Where the hell were you?" You know, like I have a go-to, especially when Derek became my manager. You know, I will put this guy in the ropes and choke him and claw at his eyes and wait for that referee. Yeah, and I'll wait for every second until he gets to 4. And if you dilly-dally and I'm there for 30 seconds, I'm sorry, opponent, but that's the ref, man.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. But then, like, I've had to tell refs, and it's be like, I'm going to do this. And, like, I'm going to grab you and pull you with me because Derek's out there. Because a lot of refs will get pissed. Oh, don't manhandle the ref. Don't disrespect the ref. Yes. But if I'm doing that and I'm backing up and you're not coming with me, I'm pulling your ass with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't heal the ref, but at the same time, the ref has to know where to be, what to do.
And he has to know, he has to work with the heel so the heel can get over as a heel.
Heat. Yeah, he's got to get heat. And especially if a manager, you know not to pay attention to what's going on, at least for the first 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and then turn around. But by then, if good manager will be gone. Won't even be in the area.
I love watching matches with Patrick and see his reactions to folk not being where they need to be. Thankful for all the good referees out there, says Skyros. Yes.
And there is some. There's quite a few of them out there.
There definitely is. And the thing is, like, good referees, once you know you got a good referee, like, the match opens up.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
there's this woman up in New England, always wrestles for NECW. I can't remember her name. I apologize. Skyros knows who I'm talking about. Carrie knows who I'm talking about because she's got a thick Boston accent. So
Okay.
when I'm doing my thing and I got someone in the corner and I'm like raking their eyes, and she'll be like, "Hey, get out of the Kona." And I just turned to her. I'm like, "I don't know what a Kona is." And I'll go back to doing my thing. And she'd be like, "No, get him out of the Kona." I was like, "What's a Kona?" And I'll just sit there and do that for like 5 minutes while cheating. And it's like the most fun thing ever. The last NYCW show I did, that Hall of Fame show, I did that Battle Royal and I was outside throwing a fit. And I look over and I see Sheldon, the NECW promoter, and I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, Sheldon, hey!" And I look over and there's that referee, and I'm like, "What the hell's a Kona?" And she's like, "Ah." Yeah, see, Carrie Kona, she knows.
Yeah.
To both of you, who are some of your favorite old school refs? Asks Ryan. You got a favorite old school ref?
My favorite referee of all time is Joey Morella.
Okay. All right.
But I also, when I did my research when I became a referee, loved watching Randy Anderson, Tommy Young, um, the Hebners. But man, I hated Earl's counts. His counts were horrible. Dave was so much better at counts. But like Earl would give away the finishes, and I hated that so much.
One of the refs from ECW did that too. Um, which one was it? I always get both of them mixed up.
Finnegan's the one that does all the nonsense with Sean Carr, if that helps.
Okay, so probably Finnegan then. Cause yeah, man, like he would do so dramatic counts, and then once it was the finish, it was 1, 2, 3. And
Yeah.
yeah, once you saw those counts, you knew what was going on. Skyros, Ted Stillwell.
Well, yeah, he's not old. He's not old school anymore. But
Hey,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
hey, hey. When he joined the Salvation
Yes.
for modern wrestling, he donned the suspenders and the elbow
Yes.
pad and the bow
Yes.
tie.
He wanted to punch me out so bad during that angle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wanted to heel on me, and he wouldn't admit it, but he wanted to slug me so bad. And we almost
He got really into that stuff. He was loving
yeah.
it. He
I wish
absolutely
we
loved it.
could get this footage from the last show because me and him were going at it pretty good. Yeah, I know some guy in
Dude,
the South is never gonna get
never.
that out.
Unless
Yeah,
Joe Gacy's on the show, you're never gonna see that shit.
I
I'm a
know.
big fan of Charles Robinson as a ref, and current
Yes,
day I
I
really
agree.
like Bryce Rensburg. And you like Aubrey Edwards? I got nothing against her, but holy shit, do people come out of the woodwork on social media about her?
Yeah, she's one of those. She's either loved or hated.
I'm indifferent on her. Sometimes she does stuff, and I'm like, that was weird. But other times, look, man, if you're gonna give me the two options of the jerk offs who stands in the corner
Mhm.
or the over animated referee that overreacts to everything I do,
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one.
Yep.
Because when I beel somebody out of the corner and then I see the referee jump up and go like this, then that's what I want.
Yeah.
I like
But
that.
Bryce is
That
known.
makes me look
Bryce is
good.
known for that,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
love Bryce. Obviously, I mean
Yes,
anybody that
you do.
knows. Anybody knows me knows I love Bryce. Bryce is my favorite, one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, every time I see something, I'm like, hey, it's Patrick's friend. Does Patrick
Yeah.
know he's in town? I'm sure he does. I'm surprised I'm not seeing you on AEW Dark yet.
No,
Ah.
my leg is. I still can't. I mean,
Well,
my leg's not been great.
I did kind of want to bring that up because the whole unsung hero thing, like this, even though you're not a wrestler, dude, you shattered your goddamn leg for this business, and
Yeah.
I don't know many wrestlers that can say something like that. And we don't got to
True.
get into like the details that night because I remember, why you were there and what happened, but like during the match, like at one point, did you know, like, something's not right?
Right. I mean, as soon as it happened, I knew something wasn't right. So it was a 4-way match. I want to say it was for the Limitless Championship.
Oh,
I could be
really?
wrong. Ethan Page was the champion. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like that was the championship he had. And it was a 4-way match. Just in the middle of the match, guys did a spot. I went to go count. My foot got caught, and basically my leg went like, oh, sorry, camera's this way, and my leg went like that. And my foot got caught because the ring was not the greatest ring in the history of professional wrestling rings. And I heard the crack, but I was so into what I was doing, like I didn't think it was me. I thought it was maybe the ring board, or I'm just hearing things, or like I didn't feel it
It was that
at first.
goddamn loud. You're like, oh shit, the
Oh, I
ringboard
heard it. Oh
broke.
yeah, it was gross. I heard it. And stupid me, I make the count, and I'm adrenaline going. I stand up,
Oof.
and then when I stand up, I realize something's wrong with my leg because it feels like goo, and it shouldn't feel like that. And so I'm lucky. I'm right next to the ropes, and I go over to Ando because Nick Ando was in the match, and I go, "Something's wrong. Go home." And he rolls out. He goes, "Okay," and he rolls out of the ring. I'm like, "No, not home. Like, go finish, finish, finish."
Pulls out his phone, starts calling an Uber. Like,
it was funny because I think he knew what I meant, but like I don't think he realized. He obviously didn't know what happened. He just heard me say "go home," so he probably meant, "Okay, I got 2 minutes." So they were just whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so there's video. I have like 30 seconds of the video. The guys keep going because nobody obviously knew I got hurt. They do a C4. I go down for the count again, and now I know don't get back up because I don't know what's wrong.
You just belly crawling for the rest of the spots.
I do the army thing on the ropes. I freaking get myself out of the way, get in the corner, and I threw the X out already.
But holy shit.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. I wish I could have the whole video to watch the whole thing. Because after I broke my leg, it was 2.5 minutes, I think I was told, before the match ended.
Ooh.
And I yelled over to Ethan Page because nobody else was paying attention to me. I said, "Go the fuck home!" Like everybody in the building heard me yell, "Go home!"
Everybody gets up and starts leaving. Oh, the show's over. Oh,
it's
God,
over.
sorry.
Well, he got it. He goes over, tells the guys, "Hey, something's wrong." Does his shooting powerbomb thing that he does. I count it from the corner, and he's in the middle of the ring. But he kind of like moves the guy just enough so I can see what's going on. He's a professional. I got so much respect for him, but I gained so much more that night too. And then everybody rushes out of the locker room because they have no idea why the X got thrown. They just know somebody's hurt.
And they're checking all the wrestlers. You're in the corner holding your leg.
I'm just like, I don't know what I did. And so they come over like, what's going on? And I was the only referee that night too, by the way.
That was going to be my follow-up because like, I know you're the only ref.
Yeah.
So what happened after this match?
Just so happens there was a guy who was a referee, I think out of Canada, and he happened to just be there and was watching the show and got up and said, "Hey, by the way, I have my gear in the car. I know you guys don't have a ref now."
It's like the scene for the movie. It's like, is there a doctor in the house? And it's like, I'm a doctor. Or the famous Bill Alfonso, I'm a manager. If Lovins was still here, he'd pop for that one. Yeah, Ethan Page, he's a really good dude.
Yes.
He fucking hated me first.
Really?
Yeah, so my Ethan Page story, when I went up into Canada, I started working up in Canada thanks to Maddie D putting me over to everybody. And so I got like bookings in Alpha 1, C4, IWS. I did a Shindy tour, which is an entire podcast on its own, man. The first time I did it again, the first time I stayed overnight in Canada, driving the fucking back roads, like it was first time I had milk in a bag. It was great. But so the first night I wrestled for Page, the best thing about him is like he is in Canada, like on the Buffalo side. So he was only like 2.5 hours from my house. One time he had a show in St. Catharines and it was like an hour away. It was amazing. Awesome. So I was booked by myself. So I did the drive by myself. He ran on Sundays. So I went and did the show. I got packed up, loaded up the car, got in there, pulled out my GPS, went to go punch in the address. And that's when I learned that my GPS was US only and didn't have Canada on it.
Oh shit.
And I have track phones, so once you go over the border, you get no service. So
Yep.
I'm just like, I have no way
Shit.
of getting to the show. So my wife, I think I remember this. Yes, because this next part is I call my wife from the driveway, and I'm just like, I can't get to the show.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? So my wife hops in the DeLorean, goes back to 2001, writes down the MapQuest directions for me,
Yes.
runs out, hands me the piece of paper. She's just like, here are the directions. And I'm just like, shit, do not have the multitasking abilities, let alone in Canada, to do this. So the fast ever directions, it was fast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, here we go. So to get there, I pulled out my phone. I still pulled up the map, and I'm like, maybe if I load the map, it'll get me further into Canada because it's loaded, which
Yeah.
it pretty much did. So I get there. Of course, I get hung up at the border because the Canadian border does not like me because they think I'm making millions of dollars in pro wrestling
For sure.
and they think I need to give them money. So I get held up at the border. So I have no service, so I can't get a hold of anybody and be like, I'm running late, trouble at the border, traffic, nothing. And I don't want to get a speeding ticket in Canada, like all this shit. So I'm going. I finally get there. I run in there. And bro, I don't know what it was, but our car was always held up. Skyros, it was me. I am telling you right now that they flagged my ass the first fucking time because I copped a fucking attitude. I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I get up there, we get in the building, and I'm teaming with Rex. We're big and dirty. We get in there, show's about to start in like 10 minutes, and we're the first match.
Oh jeez.
Ethan apparently is one of those guys who is fucking timed out. Everything needs to do this, everything needs to do that. So the whole time I'm running late, he's like, where the fuck is he? Why is he late? What is he doing? He's yelling at Rex. Oh, what the fuck? He's late. What is he doing? And Rex is like, I can't get a hold of him. He's like, I don't know, man. I just wanted to tag with him because we look alike, you know? So I get there, I throw my shit on, we do whatever, we go out there, we have a good match. No fuck ups, everything's fine. Crowd, the audience liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get back down there, and Ethan Page is like, you're a fucking asshole, but that wasn't bad. But he did not let this go.
Oh, of
He
course not.
did not let this go. And he booked me first or second match like every fucking show. I don't know if that was
Mm-hmm.
punishment or what, but I was always on super early. And so right after that, I fucking ordered a Canada GPS, so it would never happen again.
Yeah. Yes.
But on the ride home, I'm looking at directions, I'm going, and it's like, oh, take a right to go on the Queen Elizabeth way or whatever.
Sure.
The entrance is closed for
Oh fuck.
construction. I can't take it. And there's no like detour. And I'm like, my directions say I have to go that way, and I can't go that way. I don't know where else to go. I don't know what the Queen Elizabeth is. I don't know if I went west or east. I
Oh
don't know what the hell's
no.
going on. So I just keep driving, and I go into like a gas station. I'm like, explain the situation. I'm like, I can't pull up a GPS. I'm from America. I'm stupid. Like, love your ketchup chips, but I don't know how to get home. So he's like, well, I don't really know either because you have to like go that way. And I'm like, so I get back in there, and thankfully, where it's closed, there's cops. So I'm like, I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
drive up and ask them. So I start driving, and they're like trying to shoo me away, and I'm just
Right.
like, no, I need help. I'm an American. I don't know how to get home. I have to go here. Like, where do I go to get where I need to go? He says something. He's like, oh, go all the way down that way, take a right, take this, and then you'll be good. I'm like, okay. So I'm like driving, looking for a street with like a one name. I finally find it. I get on there. I take it. I start driving, and I'm driving for like 10, 15 minutes. Like, okay, I just take this. I'll get back to the border. Start looking around. I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. This is good. Wait a minute. That should be on the other side. And then I realized I was driving the wrong way on it. So I had to take an exit, get back, turn around, and go the right way and get home. And that was my first time wrestling for Alpha One and Ethan Page.
What an experience!
Oh God, it sucked. It sucked. My first time doing C4, I got there and Ethan Page was there, and I got there before him. And I think Skyros was the main. It might have been him I was saying it to, and I was like, "Watch this. Ethan Page is gonna give me shit." So I go up and say hi. He goes, "What the hell? You're on time for this guy. Why can't you be on time for me?" I was like, "Sorry, man. I was like, he drove. He's better than I am. I don't know what to tell you." Nasty Kevin for the win. It happened exactly like that. Skyros vouches for me.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, yeah, once he, it's funny because like once they got to like AEW and shit, like after Impact, everything, all that, like he became even like more mellow of the dude, which is really weird because usually people like make it, you run the risk of them just being like, but now he's just like, hey man, how are you?
Yeah.
And I've talked to him more since than I did when he was my boss, you know.
That happens sometimes.
Ryan Schmidt, I know everyone wants to be the main event, but if you're not the main event, what's the best spot to have on the card? Well,
I've always been told opening match. You want to be the one that starts the pace.
So that is true. I only hate it because my brain needs like a bunch of time to get ready, and I don't like being rushed. It takes me forever to change. It takes me forever to stretch. It takes me forever to figure out what I want to do. And I don't like we started this time and we're doing this and then you're up. Like when I'm like, oh, I'm on after intermission. Like, oh, thank God I have intermission to, use. Let's see here. I love first or after intermission. So I'm kind of on I'm on the same wavelength as Skyros actually, because I do like right before intermission, because by that point the crowd is pretty much worked almost to their peak. Like, it's not too late in the show, they're not too tired. If there's boos, they got a good buzz going. They've seen great matches, so they're all worked up. And after intermission, now you got to get back into it, back into the motions. You got to get readjusted. Your adrenaline's down or whatever. But also, you have your match. Hopefully, you do good. And then it's like, all right, I'll be at the gimmick tables. Come buy a T-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's always that's a pretty good one too. But I think typically taking all that into consideration, if I was given the options, I'd either want to go on right before intermission so I can come out during intermission and try to make some money, or I like being second after intermission because then it gives me ample time for me to get in my head, do what I got to do, use intermission. I might still be able to come out if I'm doing good. I could sell, come back, and still have enough time to get ready. So I think like second after intermission is probably my favorite, personally. Unless you're Hulk Hogan, then you want to go on before intermission, get back to the hotel before room service closes. I think I missed something here. Let me scroll back up. I'm not used to my chat being this active. Where'd we go? Oh, I missed some from Skyros. Solomon and I got through very easily. See, I'm telling you, it's me. Like, they pulled me into a back room. It was me, some Italian-looking mobsters, and an Amish family. And they were ringing me hard. Who booked you? Why did they book you for wrestling? Why would they book you? Why are you coming by yourself? How much you getting paid? And they were getting mad because I'm like, look, lady, I if I make under 5,000, which I am, I ain't got to do squat with the money. And Vince McMahon changed the law, so anybody comes up for pro wrestling doesn't need working papers. Like Brody fucking Lee told me all this shit. I know I'm good. And they're just like, well, they like to have something in writing. And I'm like, no one's going to give me something in writing. I don't get contracts. So I think I pissed them off, and there's a flag on me. unless I go up there with Keith Lee and Dick Justice, then they're too afraid to pull us over. I'm late, but watching Patrick Shedder's like live was a wild experience. I vividly remember him carrying down the stairs. Oh shit, that's right, man. You guys were upstairs too.
Yeah, we're at the pastime, so we were upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, did they not have that motorized chair thing anymore?
They couldn't find the guy who was supposed to be with the key to use it.
What an asshole!
And then I'm laying on the apron of the ring, and the EMTs come up and the doctor comes up. The EMT girl's like, "Hey, can I cut your pants up to see what's going on?" Yep. As soon as they cut it, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're swelling. You're done. Like you broke something. We got to cart you out of here." And then they're like, "Well, it's not so bad if we just put this splint on. Can you kind of like hobble over to the chair?
Can you just roll down the stairs?
Sure, no problem." So I get I don't remember if it was Billy or Zach, but one of the oh, did we freeze?
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. We're back.
He did a freeze frame like an 80s film.
Oh no, I'm frozen on the feed.
Oh, well, you're good now, at least on my end.
Okay, yeah, now I'm back. And so I get to the chair. I finally get to the chair. I hobble over to the chair. I sit down and I black out.
Ooh.
All of a sudden, everything turns white, and I'm like talking very slowly. And I can feel it. Everything just slows down. And they're like, "Oh, hey, you're going into shock. You should probably lay down." And they not throw me, but they get me on the ground and lay me flat out, and I wake up instantly. "Hi, what happened?" "Hi, everybody. I'm sorry about that." And they're like, I overexerted myself hopping over to the freaking chair. And then when they couldn't find anybody, they're like, "Well, we got a bunch of wrestlers here. They should be able to carry you down, right?" So I'm like, "I think people like me. They would do that. Yeah, sure." And so Skyros was there. There was a couple of guys I don't really know I met at that show, and they were looking for one more guy. And TK happens to walk out of the locker room, so I'm trying to get his attention. He's not paying attention.
Bodyguard me, carry me down the stairs.
Oh, so somebody gets his attention. He comes over. I'm just laying on the ground. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, can you do me a favor and help these lovely people carry me down?" And he's like, "Sure, buddy." And in one hand, he picks me up.
See, it pays to have beefy friends.
Oh,
or Patrick, Skyros. Only Patrick would apologize for breaking his leg.
I had the EMTs rolling. They loved me. The girls thought I was funny as hell because I was just trying to entertain people at this point. Well, my cousin was there. My cousin Ross. Anybody knows my cousin Ross? He was fine until I had my blackout. Then he was frantic. So then I'm like, "Oh, I see him." So I'm like, "All right, I gotta keep him like not freaking out." So then I just start cracking jokes and trying to be funny and goofy or whatever, just to be like, "I'm fine. Don't worry about it." I'm, ironically enough, was not in a lot of pain. I was just very uncomfortable. And so I was just cracking jokes and all that. Young HBK.
Playboy Patrick. I like it.
Don't say Pat, man. Derek will come after your ass. Don't say that.
Look, man, there's rules to this shit. I was talking? Oh, Garrett. We got a Hired Gun Inc. Message group, me, Garrett, and Derek. So, we'll be talking, and I was like, "Oh, Cosmo was saying this, and Cosmo's going to be at the show." And Garrett's like, "Who the fuck is Cosmo?" I go, Justin Parker. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you called him Cosmo." And I was just like, man, everybody from Syracuse either has a nickname or a specific name. Okay? I was like, I'm Pun. Brute's acceptable, but I'm usually Pun. There's Patrick Fenton or Agent. Those are only two acceptable. It's always Kevin Graham. It's not Kevin. It's Kevin Graham.
Yes.
Nasty Kevin. Before that, it was Meanie.
Yes, I remember Meanie. Yep.
Yeah, because he looked like fucking anorexic Blue Meanie, so I called him Little Meanie. Donkey
Bikes. Okay, yeah. We had, let's say, Bikes, Jerry Bikes.
Jerry Bikes, yep.
There was the McNamara kid.
Yep. There was Mandrake. Homicide, like I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And I like bringing this up. When I first went back to training the last time, when we're on Wavell Street, there was a kid there. He always had a Brett Favre jersey. Which, first off, why are you wrestling wearing a jersey? Like, that just seems really uncomfortable and shit. But he always had a Brett Favre Green Bay Packers jersey, and I only knew him as asshole because Springate only referred to him as asshole. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's Homicide, that's Kevin Graham, that's asshole, that's Mikey.
So
Got it.
Do you know that Springate called me Conan O'Brien for like a year?
No.
Yes.
But it makes sense. Springate's usually the ones that hands out the nicknames. So he was probably trying to saddle you with one.
No, he told me I was Conan O'Brien because Trades was supposed to retire, and I was supposed to take over for him. And then he was out for like one weekend, and then he was back. And so, yeah. So basically, he's like, you're the Conan O'Brien of 2CW. And he would kind of say that off and on, not like all the time, but just randomly up and down.
Well, that makes sense. I approve that one. Oh, that was another one because, like, Springate, I always call them Springate, but everyone called them Double D.
Yes.
And because Derek Loca, he was Little D.
Yes.
So you had Double D and Little D.
Yes.
So usually everyone just had like some sort of nickname. Sometimes it made sense, sometimes it didn't. I was Pun because I wore a Punisher shirt and I was big, so big Pun. Like, it makes sense. Garrett, I cannot call Garrett Robert. I just can't. Neither can I.
I don't either. I call him Garrett all the time.
Yeah. It's like I'm gonna bring this up later in later episodes, but like Jason Axe, I thought his name was Jason, and then everyone started calling him Russ. I'm like, oh, his real name is Russ.
Yeah.
And then like 8 years later, someone's like, Dan. I'm like, who the fuck is Dan? What is this?
Yes, I remember that too. Yes. I don't remember the story about it though. Axe told me this story a long time ago, but I don't remember why he got that name.
Wasn't it because when before 2CW, when he was training with Springate, he was a Russian?
So is that why?
Yeah, he was. He did like a Russian gimmick. He was like the Russian. I forgot what the fuck he was. The Russian bear or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, he was some Russian gimmick. I don't know if it was Russ was short for Russian or if he was Russ the Russian. But I think it has something to do with him having a Russian gimmick. Damn, I thought you were a Pun because you like to make bad puns all the time. I do. So the name Pun is actually a pun. It's very sweet in poetic. Russian Bear was Joel. I know, but it could have been Axe too. Shit, I got sidetracked with that. Well, I'll go back to the thought I had before that because Graham was bringing it up with that freaking Canadian road trip. So my wife was just yelling at me because if you give them attitude, yes, they'll flag you. And when I say I was giving them attitude, I wasn't mean like I was being an angry American, but I was standing my ground. I was just like, I don't need a contract. I don't need this stuff. Like, I'm telling you everything. This is where I'm going. I'm coming home. Paige paid me Canadian. That was I usually just held on to when I went to C4. Then I used it for food money because, like I said, it was so short. So it wasn't a whole lot of money, and I knew the whole WWE rule and stuff. So I wasn't like being bullied to leave. But Skyros, I don't know if you were there. Now I'm getting sidetracked again. But one time we went up to Canada to do C4. It was one of the later times because I was doing the Messiah of old school stuff. So I had my good book with Jim Cornette on it. So we get pulled over. They take this ticket and go over there. But this time they make us pull into a garage. Normally we just go under a freaking what do you call them? Just like the
hangar?
Yeah, like a hangar. Sure. You know, it's just like an overlapping roof. You're still outside, you just park under it. They'll look through your shit and then you're good. But this time they're opening up a fucking hangar door. There's tools on the wall. There's a random refrigerator. Like there's like a cart with more tools. And they're pulling out rubber gloves. And I'm like, no. So they have us get out. We get to go in a room and sit down, but it's kind of like if you're at Pep Boys and it's got like the window so you can see what they're doing. So we're just sitting there, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to take out like my CLA and my protein and my energy
Yeah.
stuff that I had like last week. So they're gonna find like pills and powders. And now they're gonna think it's cocaine and steroids.
Shit.
I see him like shaking the bottle and shit. And then we're sitting there. I had to try so hard not to sell it. So we're sitting in the couch. We're sitting like on the couch and stuff. The far wall, like so we can see him in front of us. All of a sudden, the door opens up, and one of the female officer walks in, and she goes, Sir, do you mind explaining this to me?" And she holds up the good book, and she goes, "Why is this book covered in duct tape with a man's face on it, and it's closed so I can't open it?" And at that point, I just went, "Yeah, that book looks fucking sketchy." so, so I'm just sitting there and I go, okay, you know how we're wrestlers? I go, I kind of do this thing where I act like I'm really religious and like this is my fake Bible and it's closed because it's actually a love story by the guy who wrote the Notebook. And I didn't want a fan to like open it and start reading it. So I taped it shut. And she just went, okay.
Okay.
So she just went back to doing the shit, and I just went, I'm not bringing this book up to Canada anymore. it was terrible. We got Spectrum acting up. I really like what I saw from the Messiah of Old School gimmick. It was I mean, I appreciate it. It was fun. It was good stuff. It was really me tapping into stuff I was a fan of with like Raven and the Messiah and tying into like wrestling. And I feel like it had a lot of potential. The stuff with me, Derek, and Ted, I thought was great. And if we got the right matches and the right opponents, I think it would have been really cool. It's just the same because like C4, IWS, they hated it and they're really against it. But they're just like, fine, we'll give it a try. And then, you know, like IWS, I wrestled Bucks Belmar for the world title. And like he was really into it, so he played it off and it was really awesome and stuff like that. But then I started not getting booked anymore. So like I messaged them and I'm like, hey, was it the gimmick thing? And they're like, no, it wasn't that, but we did prefer the other one. And I was just like, oh, well, that's the end of that chapter then.
Yeah.
So I tried something, you know, I wanted to be something over the top. I wanted to be something to have fun with. And don't get me wrong, what I'm doing now, I'm having more fun with it because, like, my wife will be the first one to tell you the redneck trucker stuff is way more me than anything I've done. I mean, you can see the flannels and all the shit behind me. I can go into detail. My dad drove big rigs. My dad was an arm wrestler. You know, I grew up, my grandpa owned horses, my friends lived on farms, I baled hay, I rode horses, you know, all that
Yeehaw.
shit. He and my dad, huh? Did Cornette ever learn of that and comment? Yes and no. So he probably didn't think much of it, but he did heart a few of my tweets about it, but he never like commented or responded. I tried really hard to get a match booked with Jim Cornette and me when I wrestled He Who Shall Not Be Named with a Lollipop.
Okay.
Like I was trying to get that match book because Cornette's like, I'm done managing. It'd have to be a really good match. And I was like, we can get him if we did this match. He would jump all over it. Yeah. I mean, it only makes sense seeing you from Oneida. Love that city. Oh, I love Oneida too. And that's really what it is. And it goes back to my talk with Kevin Kelly where he comes up to me and he's like, hey, just be Stan Hansen. You're Stan Hansen, but you're not from Texas. Be Stan Hansen from New York. And I was like, well, We don't do
Alright.
cattle drives in New York, but we love country music and stuff and farms and stuff. So
Yeah.
there it is. So I just kind of took the Oneida-ness of, you know, they do the VanSlykes are as freaking upstate New York redneck as you can get, man. And I kind of I was saying this to somebody, the whole cowboy thing, and it's like I'm not trying to be the cowboy you would see you know in 60s Texas wrestling. I'm trying to
Right.
be the cowboy you would see in 90s ECW, if
Sure.
that makes sense,
Yeah.
because that's me. I don't like calling myself a cowboy because cowboys are guys who do cattle drives, People think cowboys, I guess, an encompassing term, but it's really the guys who, work the cattle drives and all that. Those are cowboys, just because
Yes.
I wear the hat and stuff. So not so much a cowboy as I am like an outlaw, as Kevin Kelly told me, or a hired gun. Oh, by the way, is Patrick supposed to be with Talk with the Drinks? She's right. Yeah, my wife called it.
I mean,
Speaking of which, Madam
it's
Moderator, I'm
in
running
my
low.
my Roman mug, but yes, it's in my favorite Dr. Pepper. So there you go.
There it is. I like how my first guess, and I'm just like, oh, we're gonna have some drinks. Oh shit, it's
Oh
Patrick.
shit.
Well, who'll have a 20 ounce of something? Patrick does Jack and Cokes only, brother.
I mean,
Dude, my wife
kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
my wife gives me shit for liking stuff like Jack and Cokes and White Russians and my brute beers. She's like, you mixing drinks, you just I take it straight and chase it, and I'm just like, leave me alone. I like my shit to taste good.
Hey,
I'll take that one.
Madam Moderator.
Thursday. Thanks, Madam Moderator. I'm a fan of Jack and Coke. Jack and Coke was like the official 2CW drink for the longest time.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Bless.
Gasoline.
She wanted to drink gasoline. I mean, I'll do it. I'm just gonna mix it with freaking Coke or something. She likes getting those little 99s that are flavors in them, and I like to take like the cherry or the orange and mix it with Mountain Dew because it kind of tastes like either a Code Red or like Fruit Loops or something.
Oh,
like it tastes like cereal. It's really cool. I'm also a mixed drink person. I love sweet wine. Not a fan of beer at all, though. I can't do mixed drinks. I'm a shooter chase. I can do both. I'm just saying, like, my dad loves 7 and 7s, Zingrams and 7 Up. And I was like, to go to the orange 99s are disgusting. That's hardcore. That's hard. So Patrick,
that's me.
it's you. So earlier when we were talking about the referees, Moscow Mules are excellent as well. I have not had one, but I want to. They look really refreshing.
Jim Ross will agree with you, sir.
Really, he's a Moscow Mule guy.
Yes, he is.
Huh?
Yes,
I can see that. I can see that. So here's the part where things are going to get controversial because, like I said, I wanted to talk about this stuff when you brought it up because we talked a lot about 2CW, but we've done a lot more shit.
Yes.
All right, since 2CW closed, like we've been doing a lot more stuff together, our paths have crossed a lot more. We do the New York loop. We've done NYCW, Immortal, Excite, Dynasty.
Yeah,
probably a whole bunch of shit. So I know my wife, she absolutely loves it when you're there to be with her, like in the crowd, like if it's just me and her, and I'm like, oh, Patrick will be there to keep you busy or whatever. So she loves it. So no, I'm not asking you to bury yourself here, but like since 2CW being out on the indies, like what's like your thoughts since you've like been out there, like we said earlier, like a lot of refs don't really know the rules. Like, do you have like a strong opinion of like what's missing or what you would like to see worked on?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we all talk about it. We
yes.
we all bitch and complain about it.
Yes, we do. The best. That's what the trips home and the Denny's. That's
yeah.
It's always the best stuff.
That's booking the territory. I mean, all the old timers talk about it. After the matches, you go around. Arn Anderson talks about on his podcast all the time. You go around booking the territory to the next hotel. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I wish that the promoters were more organized with their stuff. I wish they would stay on point with a lot of their stuff. You know, we talk about it all the time. Like, seems like we're going one way, and all of a sudden it just stops for no reason at all. As far as like, I pay attention to the referees because I really enjoy it, even though I can't do it right now. But I feel like I can teach people what to do, and or at least give advice, even though I didn't do it for very long. But I watched it so much, and then I did do it, and I was requested a lot. So like, I feel like I did it right.
That's like a big thing that like has come up a few times where I'll just be like, oh, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and they'll just be like, huh? It'll get messed up, and they're like, well, I wasn't really sure. And I'm just like, but haven't you watched wrestling? Don't you know what a false tag looks like? So if I'm like, hey, let's do a false tag, don't you know, like the heel comes in, distracts the ref right as they do the tag, the baby comes in, the ref stops them. Like, haven't you seen that like a million times?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you should see that. And maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you know, this step is this behind or whatever. But you should know enough for everyone should be on the same page to be able to just say, okay, here we're gonna do a blind tag, and everyone's like, yeah, and then it can get done without like the referee seeing it when he wasn't supposed to, or not stopping him or shit like that. Because like, you know, like you said, because you started reffing when I started doing those new pro shows, right?
Yeah, for regularly, yeah. You were the first one for that.
Fucking mind-boggling, because like I said, I always made sure you were my ref, and like it seems like you've been doing that since 2006. Like, you're really good at it. You should be the go-to guy to learn how to ref as well. Carrie's got a point. You know, I've brought it up a few times where I've always been like, sometimes I think I would like to do like a seminar type of deal, but for big guys.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like a lot of big guy stuff gets lost in the shuffle because it's not every run-of-the-mill stuff, how you would handle this or do this. And I want to show big guys how to be big guys, but I don't also want to come out and be like, well, I'm the best big guy, so everything I say is right. I've been around and blah, 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 blah. But like, I kind of want to like, you know, help other big guys, you know, learn the little stuff.
Yeah.
And I, you know, if Patrick was ever doing the loop and doing his own Bryce Remberg seminars, I'd support that 100%. Because like I said earlier, man, fighting against the ref just so tiring.
Yeah, and it's
so tiring.
And it shouldn't have to be, because the basic rule is stay out of the way. We all know that. But at the same time, you have to be in spots, and you don't have to, obviously you don't want to get in the way, but you should know that you shouldn't be standing in a corner while they're fighting 15 feet away from you if you're in a 20 by 20 ring or 18 by 18 ring.
And a lot of refs, I've noticed, don't know the shoehorn.
Yeah.
Like, I have been in places and they're just like in front of the hard cam, like running across, and you know, we're reaching for the ropes, but they're between me and the ropes, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, some of it's just experience. You know, even though you've seen it 100 times or 1,000 times, being in that spot, it's like, oh, hey, I shouldn't have been there. But you learn from experience. But man, a lot of them don't. And I don't think anybody goes out of their way to point it out. Like, when I was refereeing and I was trying to go and get pointers from people, the response I got 90% of the time was, well, you weren't in the way, so you did good. And it's like, okay, but like, that's rule number one. But the really good referees do more than just stay out of the way.
It's true. Because like, I just did a match and I was like, all right, man, so this is what you need to know. And I'll be like, but when you see this is like the big one. And then the next one, that's like the bigger one. And this one's like the desperation one. So if I told you those three things, I'm assuming you would know how to react to those three things, right?
Yeah.
How to react to those counts, how to react to those kickouts, how to react to the moves that happened, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And like I have to tell this to people, and still a lot of times it still doesn't register like it should. It's frustrating when they don't learn from it, though. Make a point to ask, "Hey, what could I have done better?" So you're not just in the way or just in there caring, etc. Did I ever tell you the Kevin Kelly referee story? Have you ever heard this
No,
one?
no, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm going to remove names, but I don't remember the names, but I'm sure you remember who it was. So I was on a show in Binghamton. Kevin Kelly was on it. And I was wrestling Alexander James. And this was part of like a series of matches, and the title was involved, and things were supposed to go places.
Yes.
So Kevin Kelly knew Alexander James, and he knew me. He remembered me from the Ring of Honor stuff. He remembered Derek from when he was booking NECW and ECWA and stuff with him. So he knew all of us in the match. So he was sitting right at the table with us. We're going over stuff, and there is a spot where a chair is involved. He did something to take out my leg, and I give him a TKO on one leg, and I'm selling the other leg when I do all this stuff. And then the ending was going to involve the chair. This big schmaz. AJ rolls me up. 1, 2, 3. So he's going over the stuff, talking about like the story. He would have had you be, but then this, and you could come back and do this. But you hit this TKO, your big move. You got one wheel. The ref's not there to make the count because there's like, I think there was like a small ref bump, and I TKO him on the chair that AJ brought in. He kicks out. Ref sees a chair, starts getting rid of the chair. AJ like low blows, schoolboy, 1, 2, 3, something like that.
Yep.
Well,
I remember this. Yeah.
So the ref did all that, except like he picked up the chair, walked away, put it in the corner. He took like forever. So by the time we turned around, I was already pinned for like 6.
Yeah.
So that quick 1, 2, 3 out turned into like 12 seconds.
Yes.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I was supposed to be my saving grace. This is supposed to lead to this, but whatever. We get back to the curtain, and Kevin Kelly goes, oh, that was really good, except for the finish. The finish fucked it all up.
Yep.
What the fuck was that ref doing? He should be fucking fired. So he went up to the promoter and just went, you should fire him right now. Fire him. I want him fired. He was so pissed that he went to the promoter. Was like, I want that kid fired right now. I never want to see him on a show again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Because this is Kevin Kelly, man. He's, here's the story. Here's how it's got to go. If the 2 players in the game did what they had to do, but then the one person messed it up, then everybody loses from it.
Yeah. You got to have competent people inside the ring, not just somebody that slapped the ring mat 3 times.
Exactly. And while they need to not be seen, they still need to enhance it, like I was talking about with the reactions and things like that. In my day, we were choreographed into mid-card matches. Since they were weak, we were the 3rd wrestler. Okay, I see what you're saying there. So I know one of the big things I always talk about is like long-term storytelling or building. And I know a lot of promoters will argue with this and say like it's impossible on the indies, which I can get. You're running a show once a month, and maybe not everyone's going to be there every month, but I mean, first off, if promoters worked together better, just a little bit, wasn't it just last month? Yeah, it was September 17th. There was like 5 shows.
Yes, within like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that was the first time Derek posted. He's just like, it's great sharing a locker room with everybody, but holy shit, like everyone's everywhere. Roots in Buffalo, Skyros is in Massachusetts, or Connecticut. Garrett's in Kanajahare, Sullivan's in Canada. Like,
Canada. Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, plus you had like, people in Binghamton running and
Yeah.
shit. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I know what happens, but holy crap, like,
Yeah.
don't.
No. Yeah, and
It's
it happens all the time. I mean, not that
no,
bad,
yeah,
like
not that bad.
not bad, but if you go and look, most promotions are running 2 or 3 of them will run on the same weekend. And granted, if you go from east to west in New York, there's 6 or 7 promotions, so there's going to be overlap. But like, you can still try to work around it. And I know sometimes venues is a problem, that kind of thing. But if you're trying to book stuff, why aren't you trying to?
Oop, got another
And
free
so
train.
maybe
Oh, there we
maybe
go.
it's not a thing. Like maybe you can't, or maybe it's difficult, or I don't know. But I feel like you can probably book buildings more than 8 weeks in advance. So you should probably
Mhm.
try to work on that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, I've only done small time booking when I was doing New Pro and stuff, but
Yeah.
um so it's kind of real hard for me to like talk on the promoter's behalf. Oh, they should do this, they should do that. But as far as like me, like wherever I go anywhere and I'm just like, well, what's going on? Those like, oh, let's go out there 10 minutes, have a good match.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
Yep.
what's happening after this? Well, what
Yeah,
do
I
you
don't
mean?
know.
Well, who am I wrestling next month? Who's he wrestling next month? Is one of us going for a title? Is one of us going to the main event? Is one of us making a tag team? Like, what's
Yeah,
this match going to lead to? And they're just like,
yeah,
well,
don't know.
I don't know. We haven't figured out what you're doing next month. So again, I can see being like, oh, I'm not going to have everything like booked, but like I've brought this up about a certain person in a certain city. It's just like I don't want to show up and be like, oh, you're in your 4th battle royal in a row.
Yeah.
Okay, you clearly have nothing for me.
Yep.
You don't have any plans for me to do a feud, to go after a title, to do whatever. So you're just throwing me in this.
Yep.
Let me know when you got something. Like, you don't
Yeah.
need this battle royal. I don't need to be there. These 15 other guys don't need to be here. If you got nothing for us, don't clog up the locker room.
Yes. No, I agree with that 100%. And uh, I talked about it before, but like some of the promoters just they book their friends. Like they just want to have a show. They're not trying to take over an area, a territory. They just want to have fun, have some of their friends on, bring in some names from time to time, and that's fine. But like,
Well, it's fine, but they're overlooking the most important part of putting on a show, and that's drawing money.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of doing it.
So
And if
even
you
if you
can,
don't have some master plan of what like wrestler A, B, and C are doing over the next 6 months, that show has got to make those people want to come back in 3-4 weeks and bring their friends.
yes,
Something,
yeah,
a cliffhanger, a rematch, something.
yes,
And I know like 2CW kind of like birthed the trend of here's the TV name that you know from the 80s and 90s. Here's the super indie guy, and here's all the
yeah,
local guys. Come see us in this town. And people are
yep,
like, oh, I want to see that guy. You know? It's
yeah,
their own sandbox, which is their prerogative, but it's frustrating. Which is what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to
yeah,
say, like, oh, they should do this, they should do that, do this with me, do that with me. But kind of go off what you were saying, Patrick, about like, oh, we want to book our friends, we want to do this. It's kind of like from what I've seen in a lot of places, it's oh, you know what match would really cool if I did this match and put this match up, and people are like, oh, that's a cool match. I'm gonna come and see that match.
mm-hmm.
I've never seen that
Yep.
match before. Oh, that'd be really cool. This company's cool because they booked this match.
Yeah.
This will put me on the wrestling news sites. First time ever, M Dog 20 wrestles a grizzly bear. Something like that. And I feel like that's part of it. And the other part of it is, well, I really like this wrestler, so I want to book him against these people because I really like him.
Yeah.
So you can get into the whole deserving then or not. That's a whole different thing. But like, man, I remember a couple of years in, maybe only like my second, maybe third tops. I was at the bar in Binghamton sitting next to Colin, and Colin just goes, before every match, you should sit down before you figure anything out and just be like, what story do you want to tell? What's the story?
Yeah.
And I've done that ever since. But like, I feel like that's overall what you should do. And even if it's a self-contained show, if you have a show and you're just like, this is the story I want to tell with this show, that's better than just, well, here's this match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I think the problem with some of what happens now is that the PWGs of the world that lit up the match first time ever or match of the year prospects for every show, that became everybody's goal is, oh, we just have to have that match.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a character or a running feud. And not to say the PWG didn't have feuds, and I'm just, they're known for, oh, hey, we're going to have Kevin Steen versus Johnny Gargano, and they're going to go 30 minutes balls to the wall.
Yep. Skyros, at some point, the Stars from the Past won't be available. And then what? I have been saying that probably for like the past like 4 or 5 years because it's just been like, I remember Josh, like towards the end, he was just like, who the fuck else am I going to bring in?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Hacksaw Jim Duggans of the world are too old. Even now, like the Xboxes, the Road Dogs, like they're all, getting older. They can't have these matches.
Or
And
even it's just that they've been to the market, and how many times are you going to bring?
too.
How many times? We had Hacksaw Jim Duggan came to every 2CW market except for one, and then never made it. Oh, you don't remember what market that is?
I was gonna say Binghamton, but it's not. Wait, was it Binghamton?
No.
Was it Binghamton?
No, he never came to Syracuse.
He never came to Syracuse?
No, he was supposed to come to Syracuse on the reunion show.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
why we were doing it, and he couldn't make it because he ended up having one of the TV things going on. He never worked a Syracuse show.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was why I'm 95% sure why Josh wanted to bring Hacksaw in. Obviously, because we all love him.
Yeah.
But he's like, that's the only market we never got Hacksaw back into. He did Utica, Rome. He did Watertown, Binghamton, Elmira,
Ithaca. Susie
never
Saturn.
ran. Yeah, I think he even did Auburn, right?
Yeah, he wrestled Cage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he went to every market we had except for Syracuse.
Dude, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there was a time where, like, before, in between Pastime and Drivers Village, we just went running Utica or Syracuse.
No, sorry. Yeah, we didn't.
Hitchcock said Utica, so my brain had a slip there. Yeah, we just stopped running Syracuse. We were just mainly Binghamton and Watertown for a couple of years.
Weirdly enough, out of our main 3 or 4 towns, Syracuse was not our best. And it was our home, but it was not our best town. It wasn't. The Pastime was great, and everybody has that ECW arena feeling or that Madhouse feeling or whatever you want to call it. But as far as ticket selling places, Syracuse was not.
Yeah, no.
Binghamton or Watertown was number 1. Binghamton was 2. Rome, Syracuse, somewhere in there was 3, 4.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with Josh where it was brought up a bunch like, oh, we need to get a bigger venue in Syracuse. And Josh is like, no, I will not get a bigger venue until we are constantly turning people away at the door.
Yeah, and
Like
it just never
when
happened.
we could constantly be selling more tickets, we'll go to a bigger place. But he never did. So yeah, we never moved anywhere until we went to the Alien Opera House because of COVID.
And we did Drivers Village because that was when the Pastime wasn't running
Yep.
shows; they weren't doing anything. So
Yeah.
they just at that thing we talked about at the beginning of the show on a Thursday, somebody just said, "Hey, can we do a thing at Drivers Village like in the middle of the at the clock?" And I'm like, "Let's go find out."
Let's find out. I always thought
And
it was really weird when like we're gonna be at Drivers Village. I was like, what?
yeah,
Are we doing like Road Wild? That
dude,
would have been cool.
I think the venue was cool. The only thing that sucked about it was the putting the ring up because at
Oh,
the time we couldn't go in to the side entrance. We had to go over behind one of the other stores. So we had to go up the spiral stairs and then all the way over onto the side. Now we can because that entrance is back open again. But like, yeah, that was the only thing that was horrible about that was the load.
yeah, I remember that first show at Drivers Village. Um, by this point, I was kind of downgraded because I moved out to Rochester. So I did set up and tear down, but I didn't have to do load and unload because like I was riding with the Rochester people, so I didn't go
Yeah.
back to the school, but I still helped tear down and set up. And I remember we went down like the escalators and then going out the door, and I was carrying one of the ring sides with somebody, and we got down the stairs and we're going down the hallway, and all of a sudden I was like, man, why does this feel so heavy all of a sudden? Like, what's going on? And I turned around and looked behind me, and the guy who was with me left. So I'm just like, what the fuck? Where'd he go? So I mean, I walked down there the hallway. I got into the truck. Thankfully, he banded me, closer to the truck than further, and I
Sure.
was like in the middle of it. So I got it on there, and I was pissed. I didn't know who it was, but I was like, whoever the fuck that guy is, whoever he's with, you tell me he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
I
no
was like,
shit.
who abandoned somebody carrying the side of the ring? That shit sucks. 5 years later or something, I'm on a show. Some guy comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, man, I just really want to apologize for what happened." I went, "What?" He goes, "I know you're really upset and I just want to apologize." I was like, "About what?" He goes, "Oh, we were carrying the side of the ring that one time and then I just like left and I heard you got really angry." I went, "That was fucking you?" I was like, "I had no idea." It was
Wow.
I can't remember his name. The guy with the glass eye in Binghamton.
Oh, yeah.
The guy
Okay, I
who
know who you're
teamed
talking
with
about.
Brooklyn Joe.
Uh
Yeah, it was him, and he apologized, and I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, but at that point, I was like, oh yeah,
huh.
no, that sucked. We're cool
Yeah.
now because I've calmed down, but that sucked.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Ceiling's too low at drivers. Do you remember it being too low?
That's why we went to Drivers because it was a movie theater, so it had high ceilings. That's why Josh wanted the venue because it was acceptable. I don't think you could do moonsaults like Skyros was saying, but like you could jump off the top rope. Guys were doing top rope moves
Yeah.
there. It wasn't a
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like I remember, Graham and I wrestled the Handicap Heroes, Zach Gowen and Gregory Iron,
yep.
which up until just now I forgot we ever wrestled. I can't believe I wrestled Zach Gowen.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird. But we're in the match and I got Gregory Iron, and at the time I was doing the Goldberg military press into like a power slam.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, man, military press, and I hear Greg Iron say something, but I didn't know what, so I just kind of pushed him up and slammed him. So obviously it was tall enough for me not to like put him through the ceiling tiles. We get to the back, and Greg Iron, I was like, "Hey man, did I do something wrong? What was that one thing in there? Like you were saying something. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did I do something?" He's like, "No, man." He's like, "You called military press. I was just letting you know, like I can't post." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." He was like, "No, man, you got me up there. It was fine." But I'm just like, I felt bad because I put him in that situation. But one time at Drivers Village shows, you wrestled Candace and that pervert who doesn't belong at wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. Whenever I hear people talk about how tough Candace is, I always bring up how I booted her square in the face. Like, yeah,
For real.
there's a good photo of it. Her hands are like out here, and my foot is like boom right in her face.
Oof.
Yeah, she ate that
Oof.
boot, and
Oof.
so I was like, yeah, she's good in my book.
Oh yeah. And then you
Uh,
guys had that whacked 4-way 3 against 3 against 3 against 2 for the tag titles at that show at the
oh,
venue too.
yeah, that means
Yeah.
Hackers,
CK, all three of them,
CK, all three of them.
and Dick, Justice, Loca, and Studley Steve. Right?
Holy shit!
Yeah, it was. I think it was those three. Yeah.
Yeah, that was after Living on the Edge 9.
Yeah, where you guys had the
Gladiators
gladiator street
Ball.
fight. Or yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yes.
Gladiators Ball thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because that led into Steen and X becoming champions at the next show after that.
Yeah, yeah. Funny story about that. So, um, so all that happened, and there was like a little fiasco with me, Josh, and Strangler, where we got pulled aside and we had this conversation. And so we did the match. Um, they did the whole um, new CK cooking cage,
Yes.
and so that was that. And at the time, uh, wait, 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 2. That sounds like a cluster. Dude, that's indie wrestling, man. Me and Kevin Graham, we would call those Mongolian clusterfucks. I don't know why, but somebody said that once and it stuck. I don't know. It sounds like something from South Park. Um, so Graham and I, this is at the tail end when we had like 3 sets of tag titles. Pier 6, 2CW, WXWC4. Um, so right around this time, we're doing WXW in Allentown, and Kevin Graham's like, "Look, man, I'm graduating soon. I'm gonna start winding down. I'm gonna keep doing like these shows, but I'm probably not gonna take on any extra ones." I'm like, "Oh, well, I still
Oh,
want to do more." So I talked to Josh about it, and I was like, I'm not saying break me and Kevin up, especially seeing how he just broke up Car and Cage, like actually like
yeah.
split them up, like turned on each other. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do that with Kevin anyways. I was like, we could still tag, but I was like, can I just get more singles?
Yeah.
Because Graham doesn't want to, keep getting more. I do. So one, I need the experience as a single wrestler. I'll get the best experience at in 2CW. And two, it would really suck if me and Graham are seen as a tag team in 2CW. Someone wants to book us, and Kevin can't do it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yep.
can I just get some more singles? And he's like, it sucks, but I understand. You're right. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. So it was a double shot weekend. It was a Hall of Fame show. What was the other one? Do you remember what the other show
And
was?
yeah, in Rome 2 days later.
Okay, so that was Rome. Okay. So the Hall of Fame show, I wrestled Friday in a singles. And
Yeah,
that's
sounds right.
when Axe and Steen won it. And
Yes.
then the next show, I wrestled in Rome against Cook and Cage. So right before that, Josh called me. He was like, "Hey man, I need to put the tag titles back on you. I know you said you don't want to tag, but I need you to put the tag titles back on you." And I just went, "Holy shit, we're actually going to win the titles on purpose this time?" So I was just like, "Well, why?" I was like, "You just took them off us." So he explained, and I was like, "Yeah, like I got no problem with the tag titles again. Like, yeah, if you need us to do that, like we'll do it, and then we'll figure out, where to put them from there. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. Eventually, just give me some single stuff." So he was like, "Okay, cool." So I'm like, "All right, we're gonna win the tag titles." I didn't even tell Kevin this. I think for like years later, I was like, "Hey, we're supposed to win the tag titles the fourth time." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, on purpose this time." What? So I get a call again, and he's like, "Well, what other tag teams can we make?" And so we were short on tag teams at the
Yeah.
time, So I was thinking, he just broke up two of the local ones.
Yeah, and Smash Brothers couldn't come in anymore.
Yeah, Smash Brothers couldn't come in. Car and Cage just broke up. He talked about me and Graham doing more singles. So, even people like the Briscoes and the Bucks there only every now and then. So he didn't have I don't know what was going on. The Wolves, I think Davey was done wrestling.
Yeah, that was one of the first of his 14 retirements that he's had.
Damn, Patrick.
He has. I ain't hating on it, but he's retired a few times.
So he's like, oh, what tag teams? Because I'm still thinking after me and Graham, who we're going to drop him to.
Yeah.
So he's like, who can we put together? Well, first I was like, put him on Studley and Loca. He goes, no. I was like, okay. So I go, what'd be cool? If you do CK version 3. He's like, what? I go, Car and Kevin. I go, put those as a tag team. And then he goes, no. I was like, well, that's good, because he probably would have put me with Cage, and I would have cried in front of Kevin Steen. So I'm like, all right. I was like, what if we do Jay Freddy and Brandon Thurston, and they can do a British Bulldogs type gimmick?
Yeah.
Josh wasn't big on Brandon Thurston, so he said no. I was like, okay. I was like, let me think about it. And I was at Walmart. I remember I was at Walmart looking at the toys, and something dawned on me. So I text Josh. I go, hey, why don't you do something with Jason X and Kevin Steen? He was like, really? I go, yeah, they got very similar attitudes and storylines going on right now. I go,
yeah,
they'd make sense as a tag team.
Yeah.
He goes, huh, that's actually not a bad idea. I was like, cool. We get to the Hall of Fame show. We're in the back. I won't. Cook and Cage weren't in the brightest of spirits. All of a sudden, I hear Jason X talking. I hear Kevin Steen's theme music, and I just went, hey, I booked that team. It was one of my prouder moments.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Jason X, if you're out there, it's because of me you got the team with Steen against the Dudley Boys. You're welcome.
Skyro's calling me shooter. Come on, man. I wasn't burying anybody.
Just calling it like it is, Daddy. All right, Patrick. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been a fantastic time. It's been aside from me messing up in the beginning, learning process. But before we get out of here, I thought it would be fun. Now, I was going to try to do Stump the Agent.
Okay.
But I did not prep enough to come up with some good shit. So I had this other idea I wanted to do with people. It's kind of like a lightning round. Okay. And it's kind of because we're telling road stories, war stories, stuff like that. So I'm just going to kind of ask you a series of questions about you on the road, usually preferences. And you just kind of let us know what they are, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this one, so this will be the first one. On the road, what is your go-to meal?
Oh, God. Everybody knows that. That's chicken tenders, fries. That's usually it. Pizza if we can get some. But usually we're at double fries. Usually it's at Denny's. Usually it's at 2:00 in the morning. So
yep,
chicken tenders and fries.
Extra barbecue sauce.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. I guess so. Either or, go to radio station, or if you listen to an iPod, go to music style.
I don't listen to radio, so it's definitely on my phone. If I'm playing a playlist, and usually if I'm driving Skyros, I'm always just playing my wrestling theme music.
Okay.
Playlist. If I'm kind of just doing my own thing, I'll have my podcast on.
No. Hey, don't skip ahead. Next question. Go-to podcast.
Right now, currently, as we speak today, my favorite podcast is My World with Jeff Jarrett.
Really?
I'm to be fair, I'm behind on everything because I had the ad-free shows app, so I have like everything they have. So it
Do you
take
get to
and
listen to Title Chase?
yeah.
Fuck, man, I was just looking up that today because I really want to listen to that show because I really love championship belts.
Yeah.
But like, you have to pay like $30 a month to listen to that show, and I was like, fuck. So is that any good?
It's
good?
yeah, no. There's a video version because they actually do like a video. It's like a documentary, like a 20, 30, 40-minute documentary where they have video versions of it. Yeah,
because I know he owns like all the fucking belts in the world.
He's got quite a few belts.
yeah.
Yeah, he's done a few of them. I have the Patreon app. Just remind me and I'll show it to you.
Oh yeah, sometime you gotta check it out. But I'll definitely have to check out the My World. I'm really upset because I wanted to.
Speaking of belts, you want to?
Oh shit!
Look at my personalized 270 belt. This case anyway was asking. Yes, I bought a 270 heavyweight belt.
I was gonna grab my CNY Northeast Super Heavyweight title of the world, but it's all the way back there.
I was trying to put this behind me, but it wouldn't fit anywhere, so I just put it in
a shadow box, brother. What is behind you? Is that Driver's Village?
No, that is a WWE ring taken apart.
Oh, okay. I thought those were cars in a parking lot.
Yeah, no. There's the canvas, and then the turnbuckles, and
Okay, yeah, I've seen that picture before where they laid it out like that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm like, because I was ring crew, so I'm like, dude, I fucking love that. So I had to get that.
Respect. Is it still under 24/7 rules? Skyros wants to know.
Skyros makes up as
you know what? Maybe we'll make that a thing.
That was that was so much fun.
Those were really fun.
That's a podcast in its own, just talking about all of those stories and come up with those ideas.
Well, when I have Skyros on, we'll have to talk about all those. And my favorite one where I got to be Stan Hansen from No Holds Barred, which was the last episode. Yeah, that's really all I wanted to do with it. Those were great. Maybe I'll make it like the fucking 24/7 hired gun championship or something. I don't know. Ooh. Okay. Next fire off question. Go to now. If you don't have one, you have to pick what it would be. What is your go-to car karaoke song?
Oh. We don't do karaoke, so I don't have really an answer to this. But
now we're going to. Me, Isis, Dick, Freddie, we do a lot of. I don't do karaoke. I'm not a karaoke guy. But man, when it's late at night and we put on the right songs, especially me and Dick, we'll have to make this whole segment if he's with him, just be like car karaoke. But oh man, the things we follow. I just did a beautiful duet of "With My Baby Tonight" with Isis Effects a month ago. Yes. It was, dude, bring a tear to your eye. So if we're in the car, if it was you, me, and Isis, and we're doing karaoke, because Isis will do this. He did this with the Saitos. He's just like, what song? And they picked Hero by Nickelback, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Fantastic.
So you have to pick a car karaoke song. So something
you guys took it, man. That Road Dogg Jeff Jarrett song, man. That thing was awesome.
Well, I'll hold you to it next time. Next time we'll have to sing that. But yeah, if you had to pick something you knew the words to, you can hit the harmony. What's it gonna be? If you can't think of anything, if it's that,
no, I mean, there's a lot of songs that I know, but like, like I'm thinking wrestling songs because like I can sing the Honky Tonk Man song. I do that one all the time. But like as like a actual song that was on the radio, I'm trying to think of something that would.
Well, it could be any song. We're pulling it up on YouTube. We got YouTube music. We can play any song you want.
Oh yeah, like I said, I would do a lot of the wrestling songs. Honky Tonk Man is probably the one I know the best.
Okay,
that's the one I've known the longest,
dude. So that's funny. So now I gotta have you back on again because I was in the shower before this and I had the greatest idea of a game to play with you, where I was gonna read you pro wrestling theme song lyrics, and then you'd have to guess whose song it was.
Okay.
And I was like, that'd be such a good game to play with Patrick. But like I said, I didn't have the fucking prep time because I thought of it too late. I wanted to sing Double J, but I was too high. When the fuck did you get high that night? What the? I didn't know that.
He's a ninja. He knows how to do these things.
Apparently. Holy shit.
Have I told you about the game that the guy at work does with me for trivia?
No.
He goes on Wikipedia and he types in a wrestler name and he goes down to achievements and he reads off all their championship wins.
Oh.
And if they're made to PWI, and then I have to guess just based on achievements who this person is. I'm batting like 85%.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to make like a fucking my own TV station here because we're gonna have to do From the Hip, and Patrick, you have to have your own show. We're just gonna do a game show, you versus the audience, because I want to do that one now too.
It's some of it's easy, some of it's ridiculous. Like I figured out Tatanka based on his USWA World Championship win in '93. Because like he's been all over the world, like he's won India championships.
I forgot about that title.
UK and all this nonsense, and I figured out with that title, he just did Bastion Booger, and the only way I figured out was because he won a Slammy Award in '94. Wow. And I figured out that way. Yeah, like it's just
shit. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we're definitely doing a Patrick an agent game show. We'll have to get more than you and somebody else on. We're gonna have to like I'll be the host in the middle. That's great. That's great. Okay. Let's see here. All right, let me think of one more good go-to question here. See now,
I'm just reading the comments.
I took an edible before we left. You got that high off of one edible? This has been some edible. I mean, I can't talk. I've never taken an edible. I didn't even start drinking up until a couple years ago. So who am I to talk?
I've only gotten contact highs with Jack Trades.
I think entire shows have got contact highs off of Jack Trades.
Oh no, I've been in the car for 4 hours going to New Jersey with him, and they're scary sometimes. Yeah.
All right, touche. Well, I do remember someone else having a similar situation, but Skyros wasn't acting that way because he was supposed to sing the lady part, the backup sound, "Be My Baby Tonight," but he wouldn't. So Isis sang the females, and I sang the Road Dog parts. I've got the Jeff Jarrett Road Dog song again.
Dude, that's a great song.
It is.
How they didn't get that on the radio more, I don't know. Because
I listen to that shit all the time, man. All the time.
The freaking Kurt Hennig song in WCW got country radio play.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
it didn't make any, I don't think it made any like record, billboards or anything like that. But yeah, it was on country radio for probably like 3 months in '99.
Shit. All right. I got a good one. This isn't, we're just offbeat. We're going to end this on one of our go-to games that Skyros taught us. We're going to end this on a tag Barry feud. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
So, those who are unfamiliar with this game, I'm going to give Patrick 3 different wrestlers, and he's going to choose. It's just like fuck, marry, kill. He's going to choose which one he would tag with, which one he'd have a long feud with, and which one he would bury the fuck out of. All right. So let me think of 3 good wrestlers. Let's take it from the chat. Take it from the chat. First 3 wrestlers. So everyone can name one. Everyone was out there. First 3 wrestlers I see. We're gonna give those to the agent. All right, Dave McCormick, Ric Flair, I'm assuming, because I know it's his favorite wrestler. So first one is Ric Flair. Ryan Schmidt says Ricky Steamboat. And the third and final one from Kerry is Kevin Steen. Not Kevin Owens.
No, Kevin
Kevin
Steen.
Steen. So, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Kevin Steen. I'm going to assume Flair and Steamboat in their prime. Not like Ric Flair's last match.
Oh
Nature
God,
Boy
that
Ric
was
Flair,
horrible. Oh.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Which one are you going to make money tagging with? Which one are you going to make money feuding with? And which one are you going to fucking marry so they can't support their family?
Oh, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
That's horrible.
You guys pick some rough ones. I was gonna
That
give
is.
them like Honky Tonk Man, Bastion Booger, and Chief J Strongbow or something. You guys are like hitting it hard. I'm trying to let Patrick get to bed, and now he's gonna be here all night trying to figure this one out.
No, I know. I actually, I think it. I think I know. So I would team with Steamboat because who are you gonna learn from? You know, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn how to be the ultimate babyface. You're gonna learn how to work. You know, he didn't have the greatest promos, but that's fine. I would feud with Steen because it would just be fucking fun, right? Like all day. He can do anything. Just by elimination, I'd have to bury Flair. Just by elimination, not for any other reason than those two are more important to me.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I would bury Ric Flair too.
Yeah.
I think if it was me, I would bury Flair because I mean he'd make me look like $1 million, but I'm not wrestling for an hour 3 times a weekend. I'm going to feud with Steamboat because he can also make me like $1 million.
Yes. And you can learn the same way.
Yep. Learn the same way. I was going to say that too. You can learn from working them. And I am tagging the fuck out of Kevin Steen. And we're going to fucking, we're going to make lots of money. All that money is going to be me tagging with Steen. Hands down. We're going to be the zoo enthusiasts. He's going to come out with the balloons, and I'm going to be his pet gorilla or something. It's Flair. Let's grab the shovel. All right, so we're all basically on the same page here. Awesome. Yes. All right, Patrick. Well, I can't thank you enough. I apologize to everybody for the indie start time. We had some technical issues that I'm going to be honest, I did not fix, but I powered through it. I've been hearing myself in my headphones all night. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever heard yourself talk a second after you talk. It's torture. But Patrick, you've been such an amazing guest on here that I totally didn't even notice it half the time. Oh, that's good. You couldn't tell. You play through play through the pain. So definitely, Patrick, thank you so much. I had a blast. Like I said, there will be repeat offenders, so you'll be back. I definitely want to get you and Ted on here at the same time. We're gonna go way over time on that one, but we're definitely gonna do that. So is there anything else you'd like to add? I know normally I'd ask people, put over their shit, but if you want to tell people where to find you on social media or where you're going to be next on the road.
I think the next thing we're doing is Immortal in the 22nd in Utica.
Me versus Man Fulton.
Yeah, I will be doing my best Jack Trades impersonation as I do.
Which, real quick, I know Simon's on this, and I put him over as a referee, but holy shit, do I appreciate you running that shit back, especially like Immortal. Like, I've had so many instances where I couldn't find my cowboy hat, I couldn't find my Punisher work shirt, I couldn't find my flannels, or my match will be over and I'll see him, so I'll grab one, I'm gonna walk him to the back myself, looking like I'm doing the walk of shame in the morning. It's like there's a lot of shows where I'll put my shit down, and I'll be like, oh, there's nobody here to grab them. Fuck. Like, I appreciate you doing that, and I miss you when you're not. And I wish more companies knew enough to have. Don't forget, you fight like an 8-year-old girl shirt.
I have. 8-year-old girl. Yeah, remember that poster? The I sent you the Raven pose.
Oh,
and I was wearing the it's the FTR shirt.
Oh yeah, that shirt. Okay.
Yeah, it's the FTR shirt that I had. It's the fight like the 8-year-old girl for Dash's or Dax's daughter.
Yes. Patrick is your MVP. He not only helps the boys, but he's great with us at the merch table. That as well.
I try to help everybody.
Patrick has helped a lot of us locals at the merch table, making us really fancy signs, helping us get sales. He's always there hanging out. I cannot stress enough the unsung hero, the MVP, and the glue to New York Indie Wrestling is Patrick Fenton. Even when he's like, I'm not doing shit, he does everything. And so if you see Patrick at the shows, if you see him like picking shit up, make sure you throw some tips at him. Throw him some singles. No change. Just singles, 5s, 10s, and 20s.
Just drop it down in Father Derek's cup.
Yep. You say this is for Patrick.
Yeah.
This is for Patrick.
We'll get a split going.
So I definitely thank you for everything you do on the shows. Every time you ref, every time you take care of my cowboy hat, like that time you wore it and went to the back and took pictures with it, and I popped.
That was at ringside. You put it on my hat.
Yeah,
on my head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Tammy was stopping me.
So, yeah.
And Tammy stopped me, but then her camera froze, so she couldn't get to work. So I kept going back and forth, like, I gotta go. Hurry up, please.
Yeah, when I'm a baby, I like to do it where I put my hat on the ref, and then I'll try to get him to quick draw with me. But most referees refuse, and they're like, no. So, like, the referee that night didn't want to play along, so I did put it on you. I keep forgetting I want to be Razor Ramon and be like, if something happens to my hat, something gonna happen to you. But I always
somebody just did that to me, and I can't remember who it was.
Was it right after Scott Hall passed away?
Yes. I don't remember who did it though. I'm struggling.
I was going to do it that night too, and I totally forgot. But all right. So Patrick, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much again for being such a great guest. It was a blast. Everybody who stopped by, everybody in the chat, it was absolute success. I look forward to doing more of these. I do have guests lined up from now until the end of the month. I'll be looking to get more guests in November. I will be reaching out to more people than just my Syracuse people, so don't worry, we'll get more flavors. And now the time that probably no one's been waiting for, because I didn't really hype it that much. But here next week, this time we'll start closer to 9 p.m. I promise. My guest on the show will be the only man who has probably been in as many matches with me other than Kevin Graham. My guess is going to be Sean Carr. Yes. And I promise you, man, we'll probably go way more overtime because we got so many goddamn stories from 2CW, Pier 6, WXW, GSW, just excite everything. So next week will be really great. Patrick, today was great. You are the man. Thank you so much. I know I've talked about this a long time. I'm going to have you on. We're going to do something. And we finally did it. And it was amazing. So thank you so much again, Patrick. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and hanging out. I will see you all here again next Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fingers crossed. For me and Sean Carr, and I'll probably be on here streaming some WWE 2K or some shit in between then, and we'll still talk more wrestling. So everybody, thank you again. Everybody have a great night, and until next time, just remember, you guys are the champs. Bye.